Hello everyone and welcome to the finals of the Orlando Open weekend. Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan here in the booth. Nick Miller is down in the feature match area. He's doing a write-up of the finals between number 2 overall seed Bradley Carpenter and number 8 overall seed David Sharfman. Infect versus Goryo's Vengeance is where we are, and Bradley Carpenter off to a fantastic start. It's a Verdant Catacombs for a breeding pool, brings him down to 17, and a Glistener Elf that is now dead to a lightning bolt most likely.
So we talk a lot about the necessity for Blighted Agent in some matchups or Aethmoth Nexus depending on the nature of someone's blockers and removal spells and so forth. This is one of the Glistener Elf matchups.
Yes.
You just want to be going on turn 1. You don't need to get too fancy. Mana efficiency is at a premium. Very important there for Sharpman to have a Lightning Bolt.
We're going to head back over to Carpenter now. He will draw a card. Does he have another Infect threat? That's the question. He's got a Gataxian Probe, so we'll take a look at David Sharpman's hand. Darkslick Shores, Creeping Tar Pit ×2, along with an Is It Charm, a Gristlebrand, and a Serum Visions. So he's got a little bit of interaction here.
Not a hand with an obvious path, but at least a lot of opportunities to draw cards, and I think the Lightning Bolt on the draw is just so good for Sharfman that this hand is not an easy line towards anything in particular, but definitely a hand he should keep.
Carpenter will draw a card, and it looks like he's just got a lot of pump spells over there. Not a lot doing. 2 copies of Become Immense, I think 2 Mindful Crozier as well. So Sharfman's going to play a Serum Visions. He'll draw a card. Now he'll scry 2. Through the Breach, one of the cards that he has found. The rest will go to the bottom. A land for David and a Creeping Tar Pit as he's underneath no pressure, so he will just pass the turn back. Carpenter draws his card, simply passes the turn back, so Sharpman might just be in the old driver's seat here, Patrick.
I mean, no rush to do anything. Might be able to win this game with Tar Pit beatdowns.
Apostle's blessing the draw there for Carpenter. Here's a Darkslick Shores, pass the turn back. Carpenter will draw a Glistener Elf, a little late to the party. He will discard to Become Immense instead of playing the Glistener Elf, as the Glistener Elf will just die to the Is It Charm that he knows Sharfman has.
And trying to play with a little bit of protection here.
This is a Polluted Delta. Sharfman will sacrifice that, and this game could be over right now, honestly. If he's got Emrakul, it is over.
Emrakuling the person with only 1 permanent feels unnecessarily
what?
Excessive and ostentatious.
Real tough guy. Here's Gristlebrand.
Okay. We get to play on.
Yeah.
That's fun.
In for 7. You say we get to play on? Is that what you call this?
Play on.
Yeah.
Still anyone's game.
Yeah, a lot of game left to be played here. 7 cards on the way for Sharfman. Maybe more than that. We'll see. Another big creature over there. Yeah, I see Emrakul in hand now.
I mean, he can keep going if he wants to, but there's really... He's going to do it just because whatever he's playing against Infect, might as well.
Yeah, there's no real punishment here.
Yeah. No reason not to just, you know, dribble the ball off of your opponent's forehead when you get the chance to, but I think he has Through the Breach plus Emrakul lineup for next turn, so, you know.
Sharfman going to discard some cards here, I think, to his draw. So if he's going to sculpt whatever he deems to be the perfect hand.
We got a good 3 minutes in.
Yeah, game 1.
I'm glad we spent this time together.
Yeah. Bradley doesn't want to play anymore, I guess. Okay. David Sharfman going to win game number 1 here over Bradley Carpenter. Goryo's Vengeance very quickly up a game over Infect.
Still had all these out the door.
Yes.
Love it. Great.
Sideboards we go. For Carpenter, 2 Spell Pierce to Dispel, 1 Twisted Image, 2 Nature's Claim, Radiant Corruptor, 2 Dismember, a Distortion Strike, 2 Wild Defiance, and then 3 Kitchen Finks.
Top of the list. Just give me the 3 counter spells. Dispel breaks up enough of what's going on as it counters both the outlets for getting something into play. The 2 Spell Pierces are great. Just slide those in.
Other side of things here for Sharfman, he's got 4 Thoughtseize, a Vandal Blast, 3 Anger of the Gods, 4 Leonine Sanctity, 2 Quicksilver Amulet. Haven't seen those be useful, unfortunately. And a Murderous Cut.
Same recipe that we've seen in a lot of the creature matchups, especially when backed by counterspells. I think the 3 copies of Anger of the Gods and the Murderous Cut, good interaction here. And the 4 Thoughtseizes, I think, are above the line to bring in, assuming that he feels he has enough room for them, especially with Carpenter bringing in a bunch of counterspells and Spell Pierce and Dispel. Also, Sharfman's life total is a total free roll in this matchup, so that makes Thoughtseize even more compelling than it was against, say, his Affinity opponent.
Well, those are the options there for each player. Last sideboards we'll be reviewing this weekend here in Orlando. Bradley Carpenter will be on the play. And while there is a Pro Tour coming up very soon here, Kaladesh working its way into the format. If you're not qualified for that, there is a regional championship to play on October 15th, and here are the details right now.
Don't miss the StarCityGames.com Season 3 Regional Championships. On October 15th, play Standard at any of the 15 regionals across the U.S. The first 200 players to register for each event will receive a Wings of Glass playmat and token just for signing up. Regional championships are now part of the SCG Tour with SCG points for all players. Top 8 competitors earn a trophy, a share of $5,000, and a spot in an upcoming SCG Invitational. Visit go.starcitygames.com/regionals to learn more.
Go.starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. Find the closest location to you and get ready to play a little bit of the brand new standard format, which I don't know about you, man. I'm very excited to cover in 2 weeks.
Well, Host brings Eternal, Constructed pre-release. Love it. Love the opportunity for players who are not qualified for the Pro Tour to head over to the regional championships with either a brew or something they saw from Indianapolis. Get an opportunity to play for some cash, some invites to the Invitational, some SCG points if that's your thing. If you're really engaged with the tour, then it's a great event to play and to try to get to the Players' Championship, qualify for the Invitationals. Even if you're not trying to do that kind of stuff, it's a big local tournament, a lot of money on the line, play mats and tokens and so forth, so might as well go check it out.
Definitely some pretty sweet stuff going on over there. Bradley Carpenter, the player, will take a moment to learn a little bit more about as he is in the finals here. We'll have to update the graphic here soon because he's got another open top 8 on the resume now. Still waiting for that first open win, though, for Bradley Carpenter, the 24-year-old from St. Petersburg, Florida. Always nice to have a local open. This is top 8 number 4 for him. Still looking for that invitational top 8 and that first open win. He's got his back against the wall right now, but you think it's still a pretty positive matchup.
Well, I mean, having to win 2 games in a row and do it on the draw for one of them, that's always challenging. But I think, again, his deck wins on the third turn a bit more consistently than Sharfman's. I think he gets a little bit better of it in the sideboard games, even though Sharfman is bringing in more cards total. I think the Spell Pierces and Dispel that Carpenter get better than the Anger of the Gods and Thought Seizes and Murderous Cut that Sharfman's bringing in.
Member of the newly built Team Ridge Nexus. They're looking for their first title, looking to challenge teams like Team Card Hoarder and Team MGG here on the SCG Tour. So we'll see. David Sharfman, a solo act.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to see him a ton anymore, but it is, again, strange to me. Only 26.
Just another one of Florida's hustlers.
Yeah, Pro Tour champion.
So many of them. Gindy, Fennell, Stark. Names keep going. I could go on for days.
I actually could. A lot of really good Florida Magic players. Carpenter going to take a mulligan.
Again, I feel some degree of, I'm assuming Sharfman showing his hand here is going to be taking a mulligan as well.
Yeah, he's going to keep now. Yeah, go ahead, beat this. That's what's going on.
I did watch one of our former coverage colleagues, Gerard Fabiano, once playing a PTQ hand up. But that was, I don't think that was what was going on right there.
No.
See, this is the, as much as I like to rag on Florida,
yes,
in part because of my origins in New Jersey.
Yes.
There is a kindred spirit sort of thing going on. The confidence, the hubris, a lot of really good local players no one really knows about.
Yep. John Cuvier, for example.
Exactly.
No surprise to see him in the top 4.
A lot of shared, affection's not the right word because that's definitely not the right word. And understanding and appreciation. Also, 2 states very high on the list of states people like to make fun of, New Jersey and Florida. It's a shared heritage.
Who would make fun of New Jersey?
You, for one.
Would never do such a thing.
Sharpman almost looking like a Grixis control hand over here.
Yeah, Michael Majors, Jerry Thompson, they'd be proud.
The Creeping Tar Pit, the Murderous Cut, and Lightning Bolt all send you off the trail.
Yeah. You change that sleight of hand into a Serum Visions.
Who would even know?
Looking like a do-nothing Grixis control deck. Here is a Noble Hierarch. Carpenter going to fall down. Let's see which land he wants to grab real quick here.
Sharpman's hand, much the same story that we saw in the opening hand from the first game. No clear path towards anything, but a cantrip, one piece of the puzzle, and a couple removal spells. Very hard hand to get away with, especially with Sharfman already on 6.
Yeah, it's a hand that strikes me as good enough.
Right, above the line.
Scalding Tarn here for David. That is a Steam Vents. And this might be that Lightning Bolt. He's going to go with Serum Visions instead. He'll draw a card. Through the Breach is the draw. Scry 2.
There's a weird sort of mini game going on right now where Sharfman knows that Carpenter knows about the lightning bolt and still played the Noble Hierarch into the face of it. So Carpenter saying, I'm fine with you killing this. Sharfman has a good out to use his mana on something else instead, which is the Serum Vision, so he's going to do that and not bother using the removal spell right now.
Over to Bradley Carpenter we go. He'll play a Forest. He will play Blighted Agent, and he will pass the turn back. Apostle's Blessing at the ready. 1 Lightning Bolt is good. That means 2 is better. Assuming, of course, David Sharfman has another source of red mana.
I think he's on Swamp plus Creeping Tar Pit as lands in hand, so you might have to bridge this over 2 turns. He can cast Lightning Bolt right now, or he can wait, take the hit from the Blighted Agent, bolt at the end of the turn, untap and try to bolt again.
Sure. He's going to start now. A Lightning Bolt. Apostle's Blessing is going to save it. Carpenter will fall down to 13. There's Creeping Tar Pit. Now, if you're David Sharfman, you have to ask, am I dead? I could be dead. Doesn't look like I'm dead.
It's hard to be dead.
Is it?
On 3 cards, it's hard. I mean, I'm a big Infect supporter, don't get me wrong. Hard to be dead on 3 cards.
Look, Vines of Vastwood, Might of Volcrosia. See ya.
Yeah, then that's possible, but not trivial.
Sharfman will draw.
Be a really good spot for Anger of the Gods.
There would be worse spots for that. Murderous Cut looks kind of nice. Lightning Bolt. Here is Vines of the Vastwood with Kika. Sharfman does have a copy of Murderous Cut in hand.
3 in the graveyard plus 2 mana up, so he can cast it right now. Leftovers of Sleight of Hand, Gristlebrand through the Breach, so that's a path towards something.
A little something going on there.
Be surprised if Sharfman let this survive. Seems like a great window to take care of it with Carpenter having access to no mana.
Yep, and there's Murderous Cut. Blighted Agent down, but Carpenter's last card in hand is a Blighted Agent. He'll untap those 2 lands of Noble Hierarch, and now it's time to draw a card. He has picked up a Cataxian Probe, so down to 11 he goes. He's got to be a little bit careful here with that life total, I think. Inkmoth Nexus is a pretty nice draw.
Inkmoth Nexus is nice insofar as it means that if Carpenter gets hit with Anger of the Gods, the worst case scenario, he's at least still got something going on. Hopefully from Carpenter's perspective it doesn't come down to it, but it's nice to know about.
Sleight of Hand the draw. And that's exactly where Sharkman will start. So he'll look at the top 2 cards of his deck. One goes to the grip, the other goes to the bottom. And he's made his selection. Next up. Sleight of Hand. Same thing. Simian Spirit Guide in there now. Monkey's looking to cause some trouble.
Question is just, does Sharfman have a line towards anything? If he can find Emrakul, it's a win. He's got 3 mana in play, plus 1 more in hand. I think he's taking the Simian Spirit Guide here. Again, I don't think he has a Through the Breach plus X right now.
There's a Swamp past that turn back.
Did not get a look off of the first Sleight of Hand. If he was able to find a Fatty, especially Emrakul, then we could be looking at a win next turn, assuming he survives this one.
What do we have here?
You lose.
Yeah. Might of Volcrosia, is that okay? Yeah, it works just fine. Bradley Carpenter is going to win game number 2 here over David Sharfman. In fact, Goryo's Vengeance, getting ready for game number 3.
Yeah, 2 bolts and a Murderous Cut and a turn 5 kill it was looking like.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
Able to work through that stuff?
Whew.
Pretty good deck.
Yep.
Pretty good deck. Just saying it's a pretty good deck.
You know everyone's allowed to play it.
Well, yeah, that's you can pick whatever.
Anyway, yeah, it's not sealed. You get to pick the deck that you want.
Yeah.
You get to, anyone can play with this.
No, I got you. I got you. I'm right there with you.
It's just worth clarifying because we see so many other decks. I'll go let's see if we can find our day 2 metagame breakdown over here. I believe we had 15% plus of the field playing Bant Eldrazi.
That's correct.
Okay.
Pretty powerful deck.
Reality Smasher is large for its mana cost.
Tough to kill, too.
Yeah, it's tough to kill. Tough to kill. Has haste, trample.
Yeah. They put that all in one card.
All on one card.
Yeah, they did that.
You have it all. You get it all.
It's all in one card. Ghost Trail's just a 1-mana 1/1.
Wow.
So what's the deal with that?
Right. Do you know which one of these is larger? All you have to do is look at the numbers. I'm not a math major or anything, but
who is? Sideboards, anything going to change here?
No, I think it spell pierces and dispels for Carpenter. I wouldn't really go near anything else. And I think Sharfman's on Anger of the Gods plus Murderous Cut for sure, and then Thoughtseize if he can afford it. I don't know if he feels he has 8 flex slots that he can take out of the deck here. That's the question.
Well, for the final time, we will go over the Season 3 schedule here on the SCG Tour. New Jersey Invitational was won by Liam Lonergan. So, starting very soon, you'll be able to get the Liam Lonergan Elf token, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Richmond was won by Ted Felicetti. He won that open with Bank Company, kind of propel himself into the Season 3 Race for the Players Championship. And actually, our Classic a little bit earlier today was won by Ted as well, so he's actually kind of furthered his lead here in Orlando, even though his main event did not go well. We'll crown a champion here in Orlando and after probably, 3 minutes?
We'll call it 5. I don't know if they're pile shelving or not. That can run the clock a little bit. But after that, Week 1, release weekend. We're all very excited about it. Indianapolis, beginning of October 1 and 2. We're off the following weekend, and then October 15th will be the standard regional championships. Go.starcgames.com/regionals for more information. We have all the venues posted, so you can find the regional championships closest to you. After that, we go to Milwaukee. Then through November, Baltimore, Columbus, Knoxville for Legacy, Modern, and Standard respectively. And then the Season 3 Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia, December 2nd through the 4th, Standard and Modern as the Invitational formats.
Of course, with all of these tournaments, there are playmats associated with them. So for your standard opening classics, the very powerful Dark Salvation playmat is what you'll receive. For Modern, like all of our main event players here this week, you'll get Steel Overseer. And then for Legacy, be like Joe Lissette and spend that Sensei's Divining Top until the clock runs out. Free and exclusive playmat with entry into any Season 3 Open or Classic.
The Four Corners offensive Legacy. Just running it down, run it down.
That's right.
We're up 2-0. It's time to start running it down.
That'll do it. That'll do it. That's the lead right there. Sharfman's going to start off with an island and a sleight of hand. Time to look at the top 2. 1 to the hand, 1 to the bottom of the deck. Over to Bradley Carpenter we go. It's game 3 for it all as there's a Verdant Catacombs. Carpenter on the hunt for a land, and it's going to be a breeding pool.
Unlike some of the other matchups we've watched Sharfman play where the Emrakul or the Gristlebrand isn't necessarily a kill he has to play on, Carpenter is playing with so much Phyrexian mana that assembling the combo is going to be a kill.
The very powerful Noble Hierarch is Carpenter's play as we head back Sharfman's way. David with a Scalding Tarn. He will sacrifice that. We'll see what land he wants to get. He does have a copy of Collective Brutality in hand.
Assuming that his hand can do anything appreciable with the graveyard, Collective Brutality taking care of the Noble Hierarch and getting something in the graveyard and duressing Carpenter. Great line here.
Could be pretty good. I think that card's got to be primed for an uptick, man.
I think in all formats.
Yeah.
We haven't seen much Legacy action, but I think it's going to be moving in there too.
Just too good of a card.
Kills everything in Legacy, and the discard's good, and putting stuff in your graveyard's pretty powerful in that format, historically.
Escalate at least once here. So here's the hand. You see a Spell Pierce, a Glistener Elf, Become Immense, an Apostle's Blessing, an Ink Moth Nexus, and a Verdant Catacombs.
If this hand is without the Spell Pierce, then we are looking at a pretty slow clock on Carpenter's side of the table. I suppose it is a little bit risky to leave a Become Immense in there, assuming that you can't win the game very quickly, as any pump spell at the top can result in a kill. So if Sharfman's hand is loaded, is ready to go right now, he'll probably take the Spell Pierce. If he's got to play a little bit of a slower game, then Become Immense more likely to be selected. We will know the quality of Sharfman's hand right now based on this decision.
And of course, the Noble Hierarch's dying too.
Yep.
That's the other thing. Sharfman kind of in the tank here on what card to take, though. It's a pretty tough choice.
Well, it's like, what do you expect the scope of the game to be like? If Sharfman's got a great combo hand and he feels he can win the game very quickly, then Spell Pierce is the more powerful card in the hand. If he's uncertain, leaving Become Immense is really risky because he can't touch the Glistener Elf, most likely. And he especially can't do it through the Apostle's Blessing that Carpenter's going to be able to leave up. And then any +4 pump spell, suddenly you're dead.
All right, Spell Pierce down. Along with the Noble Hierarch.
That is an indicator here that Sharfman feels he can probably win the game, I'm guessing, inside of 2 turns.
Well, let's find out. Here's a Gitaxian Probe. Sleight of Hand Emrakul, Faithless Looting, and a Steam Vents.
So this is kind of the other side of the equation, where Sharfman feels like he has to get a little bit lucky, just race, but he's got so many draws at it that he's willing to risk it.
Well, Carpenter's hand just improved. He picked up a copy of Might of Volcroja.
All right, so Sharpman's dead next turn.
Yeah. With protection.
Yes. And mana left over.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to play this deck, people watching at home. You do not have to play with, let's call it, Olivia Voldaren. Not required. It's not a requirement. You can just do this instead.
Sharfman will draw. Dark Slick Shores. Gotta do better than that.
I'm a little surprised by Sharpman's decision to take the Spell Pierce there because he had the routes to slow play this a little bit. He could have just played Sleight of Hand next turn with 2 mana up, Faceless Looting the following turn, 2 mana up.
Yeah, he's now getting himself in the spot now where he's got no choice but to actually Faithless Looting, I think. No, he's just going to play a Sleight of Hand. This is trouble.
Yes. And he kind of needs to find a removal spell, and that's no good because of the Apostle's Blessing.
Correct.
Because even if he puts a Gristlebrand into play, it's okay, whatever. You can't really do that much for free. The life you gain doesn't matter.
Yep.
I guess that you could, if he draws Goryo's Vengeance, he could do the Gristlebrand on D plan.
Ugh.
Get Elephant Ambush. That's something. Then gas up, probably win the next turn.
It's an option.
Yeah. But I think it's got to be Goryo's Vengeance right now.
I like returning instant speed. Gristlebrand being considered an Elephant Ambush.
Oh, no, that doesn't even work because of the Apostle's Blessing.
Yeah.
He's got the mana to do everything. Never mind. You don't have to play a different deck. It's not a rule.
Here's Dark Slick Shores. There's a Battlefield untapped. Well, that's the game, boys. Sharfman will take a card. He's going to hope he's not dead, but I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
He's dead with protection.
Yeah. Sharfman will pass. Carpenter's going to untap it real fast. Oh, let's check it out. Let's see what's going on over here.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Show him the goodies, Brad, because that's going to do it. He is a champion. Bradley Carpenter going to win this match here over David Sharfman, 2-1. In fact, going to take down Goryo's Vengeance. And for Team Next Ridge Nexus, they have their first SCG Tour win. Congratulations to